I was standing in my driveway at 6:47 a.m. when the FBI agents arrived. Two black SUVs, four agents in windbreakers with FBI in yellow letters across the back. My coffee mug slipped from my hand and shattered on the concrete. Marcus Whitmore, FBI, we have a warrant to search your residence and seize your electronic devices. You need to come with us for questioning. My wife Lauren appeared at the door, our 7-year-old son clutching her leg. Marcus, what's happening? I had no idea, but I was about to find out that my best friend and business partner of 12 years had systematically destroyed my life, framed me for crimes I didn't commit, and stolen everything I'd spent 2 decades building. His name was Jordan Hayes, and this is the story of how I sent him to federal prison. Let me start at the beginning. My name is Marcus Whitmore. I'm 41 years old, and until that morning in September 2022, I was the co-founder and CEO of a cybersecurity company called Sentinel Tech Solutions, based in Austin, Texas. I started Sentinel in 2010 with my college roommate Jordan Hayes. We'd met at MIT, both computer science majors, both obsessed with network security and encryption. We were the nerds who spent Friday nights hacking into the university's systems just to prove we could, then writing reports on the vulnerabilities we'd found. After graduation, we both worked at different tech companies for a few years. I was at Cisco, Jordan was at IBM, but we stayed close, talked constantly about starting our own company. In 2010, we finally did it. We each put in $50,000 of our savings. We rented a tiny office in a strip mall. We worked 18-hour days building our first product, a network security platform for small to medium-sized businesses. It was innovative, affordable, and it worked. By 2015, we had 200 clients and $12 million in annual revenue. By 2020, we had 2,000 clients, 150 employees, and $87 million in annual revenue. We were one of the fastest-growing cybersecurity companies in the country. Jordan and I own the company 50-50, equal partners in everything. He was the CFO, handling all the financial operations, fundraising, investor relations. I was the CEO, focusing on product development, client relationships, and company strategy. We were brothers not by blood but by choice. He was the best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his. Our families vacationed together. Our kids played together. When my father died in 2018, Jordan was at the funeral, gave a eulogy, helped carry the casket. I trusted him with everything, my business, my livelihood, my family's future. That trust was a mistake. So there I was, standing in an FBI field office in downtown Austin, sitting across from two agents, a man named Special Agent Robert Chen and a woman named Special Agent Michelle Torres. Mr. Whitmore, are you familiar with a company called Apex Consulting Group? Agent Chen asked. Number should I be? How about wire transfers totaling $4.3 million from Sentinel Tech Solutions, accounts to Apex Consulting Group over the past 18 months? My stomach dropped. What? No, that's impossible. I would know about transfers that large. You're the CEO. You sign off on all major expenditures, correct? Yes, anything over $50,000 requires my approval. Agent Torres slid a folder across the table. These are copies of authorization forms for payments to Apex Consulting Group. All of them have your signature. I opened the folder. There were dozens of documents. Payment authorizations, wire transfer requests, consulting agreements, all dated over the past year and a half, and all of them had my signature. Except I'd never seen any of these documents before. I didn't sign these, I said. I've never heard of Apex Consulting Group. I don't know what this is. Mr. Whitmore, we've been investigating Apex for 6 months. It's a shell company. No employees, no office, no legitimate business operations. It exists solely to receive fraudulent wire transfers. The money goes in, gets moved through several offshore accounts, and disappears. We've traced payments from 17 different companies totaling over $23 million. Your company is the largest victim. Then I'm a victim. Someone forged my signature. Someone. I stopped. The realization hit me like a truck. Jordan Hayes, he's our CFO. He has access to everything. Agent Chen leaned back. Mr. Whitmore, we've also been looking at some other concerning transactions. Over the past 2 years, Sentinel Tech has paid out $1.8 million in bonuses to you personally. Bonuses that weren't disclosed to your board of directors or your investors. Can you explain that? What bonuses? I haven't received any bonuses beyond my normal compensation package. We have bank records showing deposits into your personal account from Sentinel Tech. 18 deposits over 24 months, ranging from $50,000 to $200,000 each. That's impossible. Show me. They showed me bank statements from my account at Wells Fargo. Regular deposits from Sentinel Tech Solutions, labeled as executive bonus or performance compensation. I stared at the statements. Those were my account numbers, but I'd never seen these deposits. Agent Chen, someone has been making deposits into my account without my knowledge. I don't know how, but this wasn't me. Mr. Whitmore, we've also found evidence that you've been in contact with Apex Consulting Group's representative. Emails from your work account discussing payment schedules, invoice procedures, contract terms. They showed me printed emails, from my email address to an address at Apex Consulting, dozens of them, discussing payments, thanking them for their services, coordinating transfers. I'd never sent any of these emails. This is a setup, I said. Someone has access to my email, my bank account, my signature. Someone is framing me. And you believe that someone is Jordan Hayes? Agent Torres asked. He's the only person who would have access to all of this. He's the CFO. He controls all financial operations. I stopped again. Wait, where is Jordan? Have you questioned him? The two agents exchanged a glance. Mr. Hayes has been very cooperative with our investigation. In fact, he's the one who initially contacted us. He discovered irregularities in the company's finances and reported them to the FBI. My blood went cold. He reported them. Yes, 3 months ago, Mr. Hayes came to us with concerns that you were embezzling money from the company through fraudulent consulting agreements. He provided us with extensive documentation. The forged authorizations, the bank records, the emails, everything. Jordan had set me up, perfectly, methodically, completely. I need a lawyer, I whispered. They arrested me that afternoon. The charges were wire fraud, bank fraud, money laundering, and embezzlement, federal crimes. If convicted, I was looking at 25 years in prison. The bail hearing was the next day. The prosecutor argued I was a flight risk, that I'd stolen millions and had the means to flee the country. My lawyer, a criminal defense attorney named Rebecca Stone, who I'd hired in a panic, argued that I had no criminal record, deep ties to the community, and a family. The judge set bail at $500,000. We had to put up our house as collateral. Lauren was in tears as we signed the paperwork. Marcus, what is happening? How is this possible? Jordan, I said. Jordan did this. I don't know how yet, but he did this. The news broke that evening. Tech CEO arrested for $4.3 million fraud scheme. It was everywhere. Local news, tech blogs, industry publications. My face was on TV being led out of FBI headquarters. Sentinel Tech's board of directors called an emergency meeting. They suspended me as CEO pending the outcome of the investigation. Jordan was named interim CEO. I sat in my living room and watched my entire life collapse in real time. Rebecca Stone came to my house 2 days later. She was in her mid-50s, sharp as hell, and didn't sugarcoat anything. Marcus, the evidence against you is substantial. Forged documents with your signature, bank deposits into your account, emails from your address. The FBI has been building this case for months. Jordan Hayes has given them everything. It's all fake. He created all of it. I believe you, but proving it is going to be extremely difficult. Jordan has covered his tracks well. We need to figure out how he did this and find evidence to prove it. He had access to everything. As CFO, he controlled all the financial systems. He had my signature on file from thousands of documents. He could have easily forged authorizations. What about the bank deposits? How did he make deposits into your personal account? I thought about that. He'd need my account information, but he could have gotten that from payroll records. My direct deposit information is in the HR system, and as CFO, he had access to that system. And the emails from your accounts. He's a cybersecurity expert. We both are. He could have gained access to my email account. Spoofed my credentials, logged in remotely. It wouldn't even be difficult for someone with his skills. Rebecca nodded. Okay, here's what we need to do. We need to hire a digital forensics expert to examine all the electronic evidence. We need to find proof that those emails were sent from a different location or device than your usual patterns. We need to show that the bank deposits were made without your knowledge. And we need to find out where that $4.3 million actually went. To Jordan, obviously. Probably, but we need proofs. The forensic investigation took 3 months and cost $85,000. I had to borrow money from my brother to pay for it. Our savings were gone, spent on legal fees and living expenses since I was no longer drawing a salary from Sentinel. Lauren had to go back to work full-time as a nurse to keep us afloat. Our son Daniel started asking why Daddy was home all the time, why his friends at school were saying his father was a criminal. It was the darkest period of my life. But the forensic expert, a brilliant woman named Dr. Sarah Kim, found something. The emails supposedly sent from my account to Apex Consulting had been sent from an IP address that wasn't mine. Most of my work emails came from either my office IP address or my home IP address. But these emails came from an IP address registered to a coffee shop in downtown Austin. Dr. Kim dug deeper. That coffee shop had security cameras. We subpoenaed the footage from the dates and times those emails were sent. And there was Jordan, sitting in the corner with his laptop, on 17 different occasions over the past 18 months, sending emails from my account. He was using your credentials to log into your email remotely, Dr. Kim explained. He had your password. He logged in from the coffee shop so it wouldn't show up on the office network logs. He thought he was being careful, but he didn't account for the IP address being traceable. It was the first crack in Jordan's perfect setup. Rebecca immediately filed a motion to dismiss the charges, presenting the forensic evidence. The prosecutor wasn't ready to dismiss yet, but agreed to continue the investigation. Now we went on offense. We hired a private investigator named Marcus Webb, same first name as me, which I found oddly fitting. Marcus started digging into Jordan's life, his finances, his activities over the past 2 years. What he found was a man in financial crisis. Jordan and his wife Amanda lived in a $2.5 million house in Westlake Hills. They drove matching Teslas. Their 2 kids went to private school at $40,000 a year each. Amanda didn't work. Jordan's lifestyle expenses were easily $400,000 a year. On paper, Jordan's salary from Sentinel was $275,000 a year plus bonuses. Good money, but not enough to sustain that lifestyle. He should have been drowning in debt. But he wasn't. Marcus the Pie found something interesting. In the past 18 months, Jordan had paid off his mortgage $800,000, purchased a vacation home in Cabo San Lucas $650,000, and made substantial investments in cryptocurrency $1.2 million. Where did a man making $275,000 a year get $2.65 million in disposable cash? We took this information to the FBI. Agent Chen was skeptical at first, but Agent Torres seemed interested. "Show me the connection between Hayes and Apex Consulting," she said. Marcus the Pie worked that angle. Apex Consulting Group was registered in Delaware, common for shell companies. The registered agent was a corporate services firm that specialized in creating anonymous business entities. Dead end. But the bank account where all the Apex payments went, that was at a small bank in the Cayman Islands. Marcus had a contact there, someone who'd worked financial crimes for years. With some creative information gathering that probably wasn't entirely legal, we got the account information. The Apex account had received $23 million from 17 companies over 3 years. That money had been systematically transferred out to dozens of other accounts, creating a complex web designed to obscure the trail. But one of those accounts, buried 6 transfers deep, belonged to a US-based cryptocurrency exchange. And that exchange account was registered to Jordan Michael Hayes. We'd found him. Rebecca presented this evidence to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. It took 2 weeks of meetings, presentations, and arguments, but finally they listened. The FBI opened an investigation into Jordan Hayes. They executed search warrants on his home, his office, his electronic devices. They froze his bank accounts. They interviewed Amanda, who apparently had no idea what Jordan had been doing and broke down immediately when confronted with the evidence. What they found was even worse than I'd imagined. Jordan hadn't just stolen from Sentinel. He'd been running his own embezzlement scheme for 3 years. He'd created Apex Consulting and 16 other shell companies. He'd been billing fake services to Sentinel and other companies, forging my signature and funneling money offshore. The total amount stolen from Sentinel alone was $6.8 million. The total from all the victim companies was over $31 million. But the masterpiece was how he'd set me up to take the fall. He'd spent months creating a false trail of evidence pointing to me. The forged authorizations, the emails from my account, the deposits into my bank account, which he'd arranged through his access to the payroll system. He'd even created fake communications between me and the Apex representatives, who didn't exist, building a narrative that I was the mastermind. His plan was perfect. Get rich, frame me for the crimes, take over as CEO of Sentinel when I went to prison, and continue the fraud. He'd almost gotten away with it. If Dr. Kim hadn't found those IP addresses, if Marcus the Pie hadn't traced Jordan's spending, if I'd taken a plea deal like many defendants do, Jordan would have won. The U.S. attorney dropped all charges against me in March 2023. Full dismissal with prejudice, meaning they couldn't be refiled. I was free. Jordan was arrested the same day. The charges were extensive. 23 counts of wire fraud. 15 counts of bank fraud. 8 counts of money laundering. 7 counts of identity theft for forging my signature. 5 counts of computer fraud for accessing my email. 3 counts of obstruction of justice for framing me. 1 count of making false statements to federal agents. He was held without bail, flight risk given the offshore accounts and the property in Mexico. The trial took place in September 2023, exactly 1 year after the FBI had showed up at my house. I attended every single day. The prosecution's case was devastating. They walked the jury through Jordan's entire scheme, showed the money trail, presented the forensic evidence of him sending emails from my account, showed the connection between him and the offshore accounts. They called Amanda as a witness. She testified that Jordan had told her he'd gotten a large inheritance from a distant relative. She'd never questioned where the money came from. She filed for divorce the day after his arrest. They called several other victims, CEOs of companies that had been defrauded by Jordan's fake consulting companies. One man had nearly lost his business because of the stolen funds. And they called me. I testified about our friendship, our partnership, how Jordan had betrayed everything. About coming home to my son asking if daddy was going to jail. About watching my wife cry herself to sleep every night. About the 17 months of hell I'd lived through while Jordan played the concerned partner reporting my supposed crimes. Jordan's lawyer tried to argue that there was reasonable doubt, that maybe I was involved after all, that maybe Jordan and I were in it together and I was throwing him under the bus. The jury didn't buy it, the evidence was too clear. Guilty on all 52 counts. Sentencing was 2 months later. I submitted a victim impact statement. So did Lauren. So did 12 other victims from the companies Jordan had defrauded. The judge was a no-nonsense woman named Patricia Flores. She'd been on the federal bench for 15 years and had a reputation for hating white-collar criminals. "Mr. Hayes," she said, looking down at him from the bench, "you are an educated man, an MIT graduate, a successful businessman. You had everything. A thriving company, a beautiful family, respect in your community, but it wasn't enough. You wanted more, and you were willing to destroy your best friend to get it." She paused. "What makes your crimes particularly heinous is not just the theft, though that alone is serious. It's the betrayal. You didn't just steal money. You stole Mr. Whitmore's freedom, his reputation, his peace of mind. You set him up to take the fall for your crimes. You were willing to let him go to prison for 25 years while you profited from his downfall. That is evil." The sentence came down, 28 years in federal prison. Jordan would be eligible for parole after serving 23 years. He'd be 67 years old. Additionally, he was ordered to pay full restitution to all victims, $31 million plus interest and penalties. His assets were seized, the houses, the cars, the cryptocurrency accounts, everything. It wouldn't cover the full amount, but it was something. Jordan showed no emotion as the sentence was read. He just stared straight ahead, but as they led him out in handcuffs, he looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes, not remorse, anger, rage that he'd been caught. That's when I knew I'd never really known him at all. The Jordan I thought was my best friend had never existed. This cold, calculating criminal had been there all along, hidden behind 12 years of friendship and trust. The civil lawsuits came next. Sentinel Tech's board of directors sued Jordan for breach of fiduciary duty and fraud. I filed a personal lawsuit for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and fraud. 11 other companies filed similar suits. The judgments totaled over $50 million. Jordan would be paying restitution for the rest of his life, assuming he had any earnings after getting out of prison in his late 60s. But the damage to Sentinel Tech was severe. The scandal had destroyed our reputation. Clients left in droves, concerned about the security of a cybersecurity company that couldn't even secure its own finances. Our revenue dropped by 60% within 6 months. The board of directors brought me back as CEO, but it was too late. We had to lay off 80 employees. We sold off parts of the company to stay afloat. Eventually, in early 2024, we sold the entire company to a larger competitor for $45 million, a fraction of what we'd been worth. After the sale, after paying off debts and legal fees and distributing the remaining funds to shareholders, I walked away with about $3.2 million. Not nothing, but nowhere near what I would have had if Jordan hadn't destroyed everything. The emotional toll was harder to quantify. I developed anxiety and insomnia. I still wake up sometimes in a panic, thinking the FBI is at my door again. I struggle to trust people. I second-guess everyone's motives. Daniel, our son, went through a rough period. Kids at school had been cruel, repeating things they'd heard their parents say about me. He started having behavioral problems, acting out. We got him into therapy, which helped. He's doing better now, but those scars remain. Lauren and I are still together, stronger in some ways, but the strain nearly broke us. There were nights she looked at me and I could see the doubt, the wondering if maybe I had been involved somehow. That doubt eventually faded, but it was there. That hurt more than anything Jordan did. We moved to Denver in 2024. Fresh start, new city, away from the memories and the judgment. I took a job as CTO at a mid-sized tech company. Good job, good people, but nothing like what I'd built with Sentinel. Sometimes I think about what Jordan took from me, not just the money, though that stings. He took 12 years of friendship that I now know was a lie. He took the company I'd poured my heart into. He took my reputation, my peace of mind, my sense of safety. He took the easy trust I used to have with people. Now I question everything. When someone's nice to me, I wonder what they want. When a friend offers to help, I look for the angle. That's what betrayal does. It poisons everything that comes after. I found out through mutual acquaintances that Jordan is at FCI Beaumont, a medium-security federal prison in Texas. He's in the white-collar criminal wing. Apparently, he spends most of his time in the prison library, reading about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Even in prison, he's still scheming. He tried to appeal his conviction. Denied. He tried to get his sentence reduced. Denied. He wrote me a letter about a year after his sentencing. I didn't open it. I had Rebecca forward it to my therapist, who read it and told me it was just more manipulation, Jordan trying to rewrite history to paint himself as the victim. I don't think about Jordan much anymore. Not as much as I used to. But when I do, I think about that morning when the FBI showed up. I think about standing there with my coffee, watching it shatter on the driveway, having no idea that my entire life was about to shatter the same way. And I think about how Jordan was probably in his office that morning, smiling, thinking he'd won. He didn't win. He's in prison for the next 2 decades. His wife left him, his kids won't speak to him, his reputation is destroyed, his law license was revoked, he'll never work in tech again. I'm free, I have my family, I have a new career, I have peace most days. But I'll never trust the same way again, and that's a loss too, just a different kind. People ask me sometimes if I hate Jordan. I don't. Hate requires emotion, requires caring. Jordan is nothing to me now. He's a cautionary tale, a lesson learned the hardest way possible. The lesson is this: no matter how well you think you know someone, no matter how long you've trusted them, no matter how close you think you are, greed can turn anyone into a stranger. It can turn your best friend into your worst enemy. Trust is built over years and destroyed in moments. And once it's destroyed, it never fully comes back. Not really. There's always a crack, always a scar, always a reminder of what was lost. Jordan took a lot from me, but he didn't take everything. I still have my integrity, I still have my family, I still have the knowledge that when everything collapsed, I fought back. I didn't accept the false charges, I didn't give up. I found the truth and I made it known. That's worth something. 28 years is a long time. Jordan will be nearly 70 when he gets out. His kids will be grown with families of their own. The tech industry he loved will have moved on without him. The world will have changed in ways he can't imagine from inside a prison cell. And I'll still be out here, living my life, building new things, creating new memories. That's my revenge, not the prison sentence, though that helps, but the fact that I survived, that his attempt to destroy me failed, that I'm still standing while he's behind bars. Justice was served, life goes on, and some days that's enough. Daniel is 11 now. He wants to be a computer programmer like his dad. I'm teaching him to code carefully, making sure he learns not just the technical skills but the ethics, the responsibility that comes with that kind of knowledge and power. Dad, he asked me the other day, why did Uncle Jordan do those bad things? Uncle Jordan, he used to call him that. Jordan had been around since Daniel was born. One of the many things Jordan stole, the innocence of a child who thought all adults were trustworthy. Sometimes people want things so badly that they forget what's important, I told him. They forget about the people they're hurting. They forget about right and wrong. All they see is what they want. Will I ever be like that? Not if you remember this. No amount of money, no amount of success, nothing is worth betraying the people who trust you. Your word is all you really have. If people can't trust you, nothing else matters. He nodded, processing. I'm glad you're not in prison, Dad. Me too, buddy, me too. Lauren and I are planning to renew our vows next year. 20 years of marriage through everything. She deserves that celebration, we both do. I sometimes wonder if I'll ever start another company. Part of me wants to. Part of me is terrified of being in that position again, of trusting a partner, of being vulnerable to betrayal. Maybe someday, maybe when the scars have faded a bit more. For now, I'm content with where I am. I have a good job. I work with good people. I come home every night to my family. I sleep in my own bed. I'm not looking over my shoulder wondering when the FBI is coming back. Jordan doesn't have any of that, and he won't for a very long time. That's not revenge, that's consequence, that's accountability, that's justice. And some days, justice is enough.